Good evening, students and parents and guardians. Those of you that are in attendance, we are so thankful to have you tonight. We hope you are all safe. We know we had some really rocky weather rolling through Alamance County earlier this evening, and I hope you all fared well and are safe and comfortable. My name is Kim Davis. I'm the lead secondary school counselor for the Alamance Burlington School System, and I'm excited about this session because I know that there has been a lot of conversation surrounding dual enrollment opportunities. I was a middle school counselor for many years and then moved to high school back in 2013. And at both levels, I would often get questions from parents and also students about how do I earn college credits while I'm still in high school? And things have really grown in recent years and programs have expanded, and there are actually lots of opportunities for students to earn these credits. So that's what this session will be about. So if you have an interest in that, then please stay tuned. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the program that we have with Elon University, but I'll spend most of my time talking about our partnership with Alamance Community College. So let's go ahead and get started. There are many benefits, obviously, to students being what we call dually enrolled. So the biggest one being that if a high school student can balance a workload of taking high school classes and college classes at the same time, it's obviously going to save families money. Right? And it's going to save the student time. They are going to be able to enroll at a community college or a four-year university kind of ahead of the game, whether it be they took one or two classes, or quite possibly we have had many students in a position where they were able to earn an associate's degree while still in high school. And I always like to share this, this fact with families and students. Because our students graduate in mid-June, typically, or early June, in the local community college, their courses end in May. We have had, our students typically, they actually walk across the stage and get their associate's degree before they even are a high school graduate. So I think that is so cool that we've had students be able to do that. And it's not easy, but it's doable. And there are several pathways now that students can take to make that a reality if that's something they're wanting to do. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So what this program is called with Alamance Community College is the Career and College Promise Program. I'll say that again, Career and College Promise. And there is an articulation agreement between the state of North Carolina, the community college system, and the public school system that says basically if a student takes certain courses at their community college and earns a grade of a C or higher, that course is guaranteed transfer to any of the 16 public state universities. So this articulation agreement is an agreement between the UNC system as well, which we have 16 schools that make up that UNC school system. So a grade of C or higher will end up transferring to that public university, and it will be one less course that student has to take once they land there. And it will also count as a high school credit for that student. So that's the agreement. Now, we often get asked, well, what about our private colleges and universities? And really, it's up to each individual institution as to whether or not they're going to accept that credit as a transfer credit. So students, if you have a strong desire to attend a private school like Campbell or Duke or any of our private schools in North Carolina, I would highly recommend that you contact their admissions office to say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this program. If I take these classes, will they transfer to your school? Just so that you can be aware and make an informed decision before you start the program. So that's just a little advice from a high school counselor's perspective. we as high school counselors will not always, we will probably not be able to answer those questions for you. So that's why we encourage students and parents to reach out directly to that institution to find out what they will and will not accept as a transfer credit. But if you're planning to go to one of the 16 state universities in the UNC system, then it's guaranteed transfer with a C or higher. So, okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about the first program option, which is called the Cooperative Innovative High School Program. And that is what is now called the Alamance Burlington Early College High School. You may hear ABEC. Years ago, it was called the Middle College, but it's had a name change, and it's now called the Early College at ACC. I'm going to show you a video. It's with Erin Stoker, who is their school counselor, and Mr. Matt Haley, who is a school principal over at that program. And I'm going to let them talk to you a little bit about what they are looking for in their students and what are some of the program requirements. So that's option one of being dually enrolled. And then after this video, I'll talk to you about the other two ways that students can earn credits but still remain a student at their traditional high school. Okay, so let's see if we can get this going.
Good evening. My name is Matt Haley. I'm the principal for the Alamance Burlington Early College. We're located on ACC's campus. And with me is our school counselor, Ms. Erin Stoker. We're going to just talk to you a little bit about what the early college is, in case you want to explore more information about it with us later.
Okay, good evening. So what is the ABSS Early College? We're an innovative high school located on ACC's campus here in Graham, and we have around 250 total students enrolled each year between 9th and 12th grade. The early college is an opportunity for rising 8th graders to attend a smaller setting while as a dually enrolled student while earning free college credits and graduating from high school with their diploma and potentially associate's degree from ACC. We're a small, nurturing environment, and we are only for rising 9th graders.
So if you're interested in attending early college, you have to be a current 8th grader to apply. 8th graders apply in the fall of their 8th grade year, usually around October or November. Our deadline this year was in December. Students who are in our Alamance Burlington school system, homeschool students, charter school students, private school students can all apply as long as the student resides in Alamance County. What kind of students are successful here at the early college? Students that must be academically ready to take honors level courses. Because of the pace of our classes and our schedule, you have to be able to take honors level courses and then move into college courses.
So how does the early college work? During the 9th and 10th grade year, our students take the primary required courses through their high school diploma, which is 28 credits. So they work on those core courses, English, math, science, and histories. And then they start their college courses their second semester of their 9th grade year, so in January for us. Students are dually enrolled high school and college students, and through our program, all the college courses and textbooks and codes are free. And seniors that graduate from the early college have their high school diploma, and if they've completed all the required credits for their associate's degree, they'll have their 2-year degree as well.
So how do you apply to the early college? We have a lot of meetings just to expand upon the information we're sharing with you here. There will be informal meetings during the fall of their 8th grade year. Students, parents are welcome. Parents and students are welcome if they're not in 8th grade yet. If they're a 6th or 7th grader and are just curious about what early college is, to attend those meetings just to get information. We will have the staff from the early college and our middle school counselors will help guide students and parents about the application process. It's an online process, and it's posted on all the middle school websites. It's on the early college webpage. For homeschool, private, and charter school students to access. And usually it comes on our webpage around October or November. But you can always look at our website or contact one of us at the early college if you have questions about when the applications will be ready. Typically, we have around 60 qualified students that are selected for 9th grade, and it's based on a lottery system. So if we have 150 kids apply, we select them using a lottery-based process to get our 60 students.
So how is our early college different from the career college promise programs at the traditional schools? Through our early college, students start taking their college courses in 9th grade. They have permanent supports in place on our campus, which is our principal, the school counselor, and we have an ACC liaison to support students. All courses in our program are free, including the textbooks and the codes. With the CCP courses taken through the traditional high schools, they're also free, but students and parents have to cover the cost of the textbooks and codes. And typically students do not have the same supports on campus as they would through our program. And their courses usually don't begin until their junior or senior year at a traditional high school.
So if you want to learn more about the early college, you can contact me or Ms. Stoker anytime through at the early college. Our phone number is listed here. You can also find our email addresses on the web page. We do have a ACC liaison. His name is Perry Hardison, who works through ACC, but he helps support our students here. If you're interested in just learning more about traditional high school career college promise options, you can see your high school counselors, or you can also contact Jenny Brownell, who is the ACC CCP contact, and she can be reached at jenny.brownell@alamanccc.edu. Thank you for listening to us, and if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's just a little bit about the early college program. If you are, beyond 8th grade, if you're a current high school student and you feel like you've missed out on that opportunity, it's not too late. You can still earn college credits. What you can do is go a different route. So if you are a current middle school student or parent and you're interested in the early college program, I would highly suggest you reach out to either Ms. Stoker or Mr. Haley if you've not heard anything yet about applications for this coming school year, because it is a great opportunity. But one thing to make clear is if a student opts to do early college, they are not enrolled any longer in their traditional high school and they become an early college student. So we sometimes get questions about that. But let's say, for example, your student goes to Eastern High School and loves Eastern and doesn't want to leave that zone, then there are other ways they can earn classes, earn credits through this program. So let's talk about the other two opportunities students have, okay? So there are two pathways a student can take if they are at their traditional high school. They can either take classes in the career and technical education pathway. Those courses will lead to a certificate or a degree in a certain area, a certain career area, if they complete the coursework. So some examples of that would be a student that wants to start doing cosmetology classes or wants to do criminal justice and earn their criminal justice certificate. We have had students do welding, HVAC, machining, all kinds of programs our students take advantage of. So those are what we call our career and technical education pathways. So that's option one. The second option is college transfer pathways. So that is students that are pretty sure they're going to apply straight to a four-year university or end up at a four-year university once they're ready to go to one, and they would start taking those university transfer courses as a high school student. So students can take up to 30 semester hours of transfer courses, including English and math courses, through this program, which is wonderful. And we have had some students transfer in as, sophomores or, and actually be able to take a year off of their four-year degree program, which is phenomenal. So that's great. Okay, so they mentioned that traditionally students had to be juniors and seniors to take advantage of these courses if they are not a part of the early college. I did want to mention to you that there are some changes coming up with dual enrollment, and that starting in August of this year, so August of 2021, the Career and College Promise program is going to start allowing some 9th and 10th grade students to take dual enrollment courses, and they do not have to be a member of the early college program. This is very new information coming out to us. We were told that in March, the information would be posted on Alamance Community College's website. So I'd recommend you start there with doing some research on that if you are interested in that opportunity for your child, or students if you're interested. So you would just go to Alamance Community College's website, and then under degrees and programs, you would select Career and College Promise. And there should be information in there about changes with dual credit beginning in August of 2021. So what does that look like? What does it entail? It's a lot. There are certain program requirements that 9th and 10th grade students would have to meet in order to be eligible to do this. But I will share with you a couple of things. They will still have the two options. They can do the career and technical career pathway courses, or they can do the university transfer coursework. So they do have those two options. If they are looking at doing the career and technical pathways, these are their options. The options would be air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration, architecture, automotive, computer-aided drafting, computer integrated machining, electrical, horticulture, industrial systems, mechatronics, mechanical engineering technology, welding, accounting, business and marketing, IT business support, cybersecurity and programming and web design, medical office administration, healthcare clerical, and then medical coding, billing, and insurance. So those are the options under the career and technical side. And again, they can do university transfer. Do not worry, there is support for students. Not only will your high school counselor work with you, but also ACC has Jenny Brownell and Kelly Chappell, who are both phenomenal resources. And if your student applies and gets into this program, they will meet and help advise your student as to what courses to take on their pathway. But as Aaron and Mr. Haley mentioned in the video, students do need to be very motivated, very self-driven, and understand that they will be enrolled in college courses, and expectations are very high for them. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. So students that are wanting to, in the career and technical pathways, the list is longer for our upperclassmen. So for our juniors and seniors that are in the program, there's a long list of opportunities for them. Like you'll notice, I didn't say criminal justice for those 9th and 10th graders, but we offer criminal justice for the juniors and seniors. So again, check out the Career and College Promise website. It will show you every pathway opportunity available to students. And you can actually click on that pathway name, and it will show you the courses the students take, and it will tell you what they earn in terms of a certificate once they complete that program. Okay, so to To do one of the career and technical pathways that I mentioned, like the cosmetology or the drafting or machining or mechatronics or any of those that we mentioned, a student has to have an unweighted GPA of a 2.8 or the recommendation of their principal or designee, which is a lot of times their high school counselor. So unweighted GPA of a 2.8. So it's very important, students, that you are working hard in your high school classes so that you will be eligible for these opportunities once you're ready to jump into them, if that's something you choose to do. There may also be certain testing requirements depending on which pathway you're looking at going into. And then once you start in the program, you must maintain a 2.0 with ACC. Your GPA has to remain at least a 2.0 to stay in the program. If it falls below that, you would not be able to continue your coursework there. Okay. So we often get questions about cost. If the courses are free, you will not pay for tuition in any of these courses. You will, however, be expected to pay for your textbooks. And now a lot of professors are using online books and resources, and you actually have to have an access code. So you actually have to pay for the code. So that is one cost that's incurred. And then some courses, especially under the career and technical pathways, will have certain kits and requirements that you might need to purchase. So for example, if you're doing the nurse aid program, you'll be responsible for purchasing like a blood pressure cuff and a stethoscope. And if you're doing cosmetology, there's a kit that's involved with that. So we always like to just be upfront with you about those things before you sign in and sign on to do this program, okay? If you're looking at doing the university transfer pathway, students, you will have some options. There are actually 6 tracks for university transfer. The 6 tracks are an associate in arts, an associate in science, an associate in engineering, an associate in nursing, an associate in fine arts music, and an associate in fine arts visual arts. So you got lots of options when you're thinking about courses that might transfer to a 4-year university. We advise the majority of our students to go ahead and declare the associate in arts, just because more of those courses kind of align with high school graduation requirements. But ultimately, that will be a conversation between you and your advisors with ACC in terms of deeming which track you select. Okay. Requirements for college transfer pathway. You need to also have the unweighted GPA of a 2.8 or higher. If your GPA is a 2.8 unweighted or higher, there are no testing requirements, which is nice. And you also must maintain that 2.0 ACC GPA once you get rolling in the program. Okay. For each associate's pathway, like the associate in arts, the associate in science, you can go online and look at the list of courses that you have to choose from. Any of these courses in that list that you select from are going to be things that you would take sitting at any 4-year university when you first start. So it doesn't matter if you end up at UNC Pembroke or Appalachian or UNC Chapel Hill, you're going to be taking probably an English 111, an English 112, your history. So these are courses you're just basically knocking out early, okay? A lot of times you'll hear them referred to as your gen ed or general ed requirements, your gen ed requirements. We do have some courses that equate to a high school credit equally. So for example, you might choose to take your last math through this program, and it can count as your 4th high school math. So like math 143 or 152 or 171 over at ACC can count as your 4th math of high school. The same thing for the American history courses. And if you want to knock out your English 3 and English 4, at ACC instead of your traditional high school, you can do that as well. Any other course that you take in the pathway for college transfer is typically going to count as an elective credit. Okay. Now, the good news is that these courses are weighted just like an AP course, an advanced placement course. So not only are you getting a college credit that's guaranteed transfer if you make a C or higher, but you're also going to get added value in terms of quality points in these courses. So let's say you make an A in that English 111, you're going to get 5 extra quality points toward your GPA, which is wonderful. Obviously, your tuition cost, you're going to save a lot of money over time. What it basically equates to, if you were just comparing, like taking these courses at ACC versus UNC Greensboro, let's say a student were to take 2 courses in the fall of their junior year, and then 2 courses in the spring of their junior year. That would equal 12 credit hours their junior year of high school. And then the same thing their senior year. So 6 credit hours in the fall, 6 in the spring, 2 classes each semester. That's going to be a total of 24 credit hours that student completes. And the only thing they've paid for are their textbooks or their codes, right? If you were to do that and compare the cost at UNC Greensboro, your cost is going to be right around $7,041. So parents and guardians, hopefully that is music to your ears. It definitely is to mine as a parent. Just the savings that, can help students and families. I think we all want our children to graduate as debt-free as possible. So that's just a quick analysis. And that's based on 2019 tuition rates. Okay. There is a textbook scholarship that students can apply for. So if you're really excited about the program but super concerned about costs with books, students can apply for a scholarship. I will tell you it's based on need and also their high school GPA. And applications have to be submitted pretty early for that. So that's nothing you can wait on. It's typically done the semester prior to them starting. And the max they can receive is up to $250 per semester. So you definitely want to look into that. And to be eligible for that, to apply for that, students and parents, you have to complete the FAFSA, which is available at FAFSA.gov. So, and ACC is wonderful. They host FAFSA workshops year round, not only for students going to ACC, but for any institution that students are planning to go to. They will help students and families get that FAFSA completed, which is wonderful. There's also a scholarship application on the financial aid website for ACC. So once students have done the FAFSA, then they would just need to complete the scholarship application. Okay, I mentioned a little bit about course weight. The university transfer courses are AP weight, which is a plus. If students are doing the career and technical courses, those are typically not weighted. There are a couple that have honors weight, like in the criminal justice path or the nurse aid class, but you can reach out to your child's counselor for more information in terms of weight, course weight for specific courses. Okay. We also get a lot of questions about scheduling, like how do we make it work? And I will tell you, I feel like most high schools work pretty closely with their students to try to make it doable. It can be tough. There are a couple of pathways. We have an early childhood education cohort and a machining cohort where we actually provide transportation to students over to ACC for those courses. And they run typically like a 3rd and 4th block, which is really nice. But for most of the courses that students take, they are responsible for getting their transportation over to Alamance Community College. And then also kind of working with their school counselor to make the schedule work. So it might be that they go to ACC first thing in the morning and then come back to their homeschool for the afternoon, or vice versa, depending on what they can work out. There are lots of online options, obviously, which can be very nice for students if they're having a hard time balancing, trying to get their courses in at their traditional high school, and also getting to ACC. So that's an option. And then we do have some programs that actually meet on high school campuses. So, for example, I know Southern High School and Cummings High School have the criminal justice courses that are taught right on their campus, which is nice. If you refer to the ABSS course reference guide that's online, you can look up and see which programs are housed at which high schools. So that's another option. I know photography and videography are offered at our Career and Technical Education Center and Eastern High School and Williams. And Graham High School has a college transfer. They have their pre-collegiate academy. So students at Graham, or students that want to be a part of that pre-collegiate academy, can apply to go to Graham to be a part of those courses that are housed right there on their campus. So that's another great option. Okay. If you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I know I'm sharing like a ton of information, and I don't want you to feel like you're overwhelmed, but I want to make sure I cover as much as I can. Okay. A lot of times we get questions about, like, what's the big difference between high school classes and college classes? How do I know if I'm ready? One of the first things I would say is just, if you're motivated, if you're willing to work hard, if you have good attendance in your high school classes, if you are good about turning things in on time, just have a good work ethic, you'll probably be fine. I tell students a lot of times, college is not really about necessarily how smart you are. To me, I always felt like it was a test of endurance, right? So I felt like if I worked hard, I could be successful in any college class I took. And I think that's true for most anyone. There are some very strict attendance policies with college classes. So students can get dropped after a certain amount of absences, which would be one difference from their high school. Typically, a college professor is not going to accept late work. And the big thing is that students, before starting this program, need to understand that your college transcript is forever, right? That stays with you. So you really don't have room to bomb a semester. It's really hard to recover from that once you're taking college level courses. Another thing that can happen is if students are signing up for a lot of classes and then dropping them, that can actually impact your financial aid. So you want to be very careful that you do your research, that you sign up for what you think you can handle, and that you don't overextend yourself so that you don't get in a position where you have to do a lot of dropping. You don't want to do that. Because that can in turn, like I mentioned, it can affect your financial aid down the road if you drop a lot of classes. So you don't want to be in a position where you are not able to get as much aid because you've dropped classes. And the biggest thing, students, is that you really just have to be an advocate for yourself.